Thanks, John. All right, we're good, Mike.
Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. Monday, March 7th, 7:06 PM. First topic, acceptance of agenda.
So I do have a few items to add to the agenda. If you
Okay,
just give me 1 second, I myself actually need to open the agenda. Sorry, I only got back from ASP a few minutes ago, so I'm a little behind schedule here. All right, so today is the 7th agenda. Okay, so I would like to add to the agenda the discussion of online registration. So I would like to add that as item, I mean, I guess it would be old business at this point. So item 8J,
okay,
online registration. And then I would also like to add on the approval of the payment of an invoice to the Housatonic Youth Services Bureau. And I mean, I guess, I don't know where that would really fall. So I guess just item 10 or item, yeah, I guess there's already a 10. So you can just make it item 11.
okay,
And that's all.
got it. Do we need a motion?
But
to
also,
accept?
sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to cut you
It's
off.
all good.
Miranda Lovato is on here, and you know, Miranda is on the playing field subcommittee. And to be mindful of her time, I would like to move that discussion as far up the agenda as possible so we can address it as soon as possible. So I don't know where you guys think that would be.
Why don't we do it after the approval of the minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's very thoughtful of you, Jared.
Oh, thanks, Abigail. I try. Okay, so we'll remove that to the approval of minutes. Perfect. After, I should say.
okay, do we need an agenda to accept
I
the,
accept Jared's changes to the agenda.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, approval of the February 7th commission meeting minutes.
I gave those a quick read and they seem to align with, I wasn't in the whole meeting, but based on the part that I was, so I had confidence that it reflected the rest of the meeting.
Would you guys like me to share them on the screen so you can browse them, or are we good?
I'm good personally, but if anyone needs that, speak now.
All right, I guess we're good.
Okay,
So
So is that-
motion to accept
Second.
minutes.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, same drill, the February.
I don't
20
have them done. I haven't even started.
Yeah, I
them,
was
to be
gonna
honest.
say,
I just
hadn't seen them.
it's been on. Like I said, not trying to make excuses. It's just there's been so much going on. I just have to make decisions sometimes what I can and can't get done, and the minutes just haven't been. So I apologize, but yeah, I don't really have an excuse except.
I actually
Oh, no,
think
you-
that's a smart move. Minutes
All
are the
good.
least of what you should be
So
concentrating on.
I
Looks like we
agree
do
with
have-
you, Rufus, on that.
Moving on to correspondence, looks like we have a couple documents.
Yeah, I'll read the correspondence. It's basically the.
Wait a
both
sec, we're
documents-
gonna do Miranda.
Oh yes,
that's
that's
right.
right. Oh, thanks, Rufus. Sorry, Miranda, I totally forgot. Okay, so that item was, just to remind everyone, so it was originally item 8H, playing field subcommittee update. And we're moving it up, like I said, you know, so that we can knock this one out. So you got Mike, you cool with me just going right into it?
Please.
So I'll give everyone the very brief overview. Basically, Lynn and I presented the budget to the board last week. Feels like forever ago, but I think it was just last week. And it went very well. But towards the end, I said like, hey, you know, what was a budget submitted for the playing fields? And the Board of Selectmen said that there hadn't been one. And although I don't know this to be the case, Rufus would know better, but generally when that occurs, if a budget isn't submitted, at best, you're going to get what you got the previous year. At worst, you're going to get less. And so the Board of Selectmen was kind enough to grant us extra time in order to submit an accurate proposal of what we need. And before we really could do that, we needed to figure out, you know, who was on the subcommittee and getting it back together. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to have a meeting. But I spoke to Jean Speck today, and she said we really need to have the numbers to her by tomorrow. And so that's why I felt it was imperative that we discuss it today. So it's my understanding that the board, or I should say the subcommittee, would be made up of myself as in my position as director. It would be made up of John in his position as a school board representative, Miranda as a community member. And then Rufus, were you interested in being the rec person on this one?
I could do that.
So yeah, that had been floated around as the makeup of the board, and I wanted to get that figured out and then obviously go over some of the numbers that a lot of which Miranda had procured before she left. But John, did you want to speak to this topic a little bit more?
No, go ahead. You go ahead. Put the numbers out.
Okay, cool. So, and Miranda, did you want to chime in on any of that before I continue?
Jared, I just wanted to ask, there was a playing field subcommittee at one point. Did that dissolve?
It seemed,
we
I
just
wouldn't
need to
say
make
it
a new one?
dissolved, but it became inactive.
Okay.
And I
So
did
we're
speak with
creating a
the
new
town.
one?
Oh, sorry, Abigail, continue.
Just to be clear, we're creating a new one?
So I
Wow.
spoke with, oh, sorry.
The biggest change was Marty was on the old one and he's no longer the school rep to the committee.
Yeah.
So
That's,
as me being part of the Board of Education, they've selected me to be their representative for the playing field committee.
Okay.
all right. Sounds
So
great.
I
And then, sorry.
stepped down from the park and rec part of it.
So I spoke today with, several times actually, I've spoken with the town clerk, Darlene, regarding this. And she basically said that because there's been so many changes, both to rec, to the school board, that basically establishing the subcommittee tonight and at least having it on record as something we do during this meeting would be satisfactory. To answer your question. Abigail.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Miranda, did you want to speak to anything before we move forward?
Sorry. No, I think we're good to move forward.
Cool. So basically, part of what I did in trying to figure this out was I reached out to Miranda, I reached out to John, we kind of discussed things back and forth for a couple weeks because I'm new to this and I didn't know what Miranda had already gotten numbers on. But I think it's evident to everyone here, and certainly, you know, I know John and Miranda, we are all in unanimous agreement that those fields are in serious need of TLC. And, you know, part of my previous position, I did a lot with athletic field, both maintenance and development. And so I can kind of speak to this. I can speak to this from a position of like, you know, I have strength in my convictions. The fields they're really subpar, and the current budget to just maintain them is inadequate because what we're doing is maintaining inferior fields. So we can continue to do that and continue to have the fields stay where they are. They probably won't get much worse if we're maintaining them, but they're not going to get any better without some serious work that needs to be done to them. And I'll have Miranda, I guess, speak to that because she was the one who got the initial quote from New England Turf Management. So yearly, New England Turf Management does lime applications and fertilizer applications, but fertilizer, you know, there's not a whole lot there that it's being fertilized. It's mostly crabgrass and or nothing. And the lime is great, but lime is not going to suddenly grow grass and kill the grubs and everything else. So Miranda, do you want to talk about your interactions with New England Turf Management and the, you know, the quote that you got? And while you're doing that, I'll share my screen to show the quote from New England Turf.
Just for clarification, Miranda, before you, can you just be explicit about what entails the ball fields? What is included in this scope that we're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the ball fields over at Kent Center School, there's 3 ball fields and then there's some turf fields. It's about 7 acres and it's all over at the Kent Center School.
So
What is
it's
that?
two soccer fields and 2 baseball diamonds predominantly. Is that what we're talking about?
There's 3 there's 3 baseball or softball fields. And then there's, you know, however many, maybe 2 regular sized soccer fields or maybe even 3, depending on how you position them.
Okay, so it's about 7 acres. It's almost about 3 soccer fields and 3 softball fields, including the diamond, the dirt part of the softball fields.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So yeah, so I have been talking to New England Turf, and they do a fair amount of work in the area. And I know they maintain the Kent School fields. And I had reached out to them a while ago to ask them to do a few other additional items to try to get the fields into a little bit better condition. And one of those additional things, there's 2 really, so I guess we're adding 3. So one is aeration, and that would happen in the fall. Overseeding would happen in the fall. Overseeding is just grass seed, putting the grass seed down. And then same lime applications. And then in July, late July or August, they're proposing to do a grub control. So seeding and grub control, I think, are going to be pretty important to getting the fields back. Like Jared was saying, there's not a whole lot to work with. So unless we plant some more seed and get some better grass growing, I think we need to really take that plunge and do that. The grub control is important too. I think there's a lot of birds that come and tear up the turf because of the grub issues. So if we could do the grub control, I think that would help us out a lot too. So this is just the New England quote, but you can kind of see how everything shakes out here. So that was what New England would be doing, and they're just basically turf. They're not doing infield management at all.
And if I can, just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, first of all, can everyone see this screen that was shared? I'll take that as a yes. Okay, excellent. Cool. So just so you know, the total on this, if you just straightforward add up everything up, is $18,961. So just wanted to let you know because it was not actually in there. So, and just to piggyback on what Miranda says, simply from someone, like I said, who did this for years, this is actually standard work. At our parks in Kent, New York, we aerated every year, we overseeded every year. We did lime. We didn't do grub control every year, but we didn't have a grub problem, which obviously in Kent, Connecticut, we have a major grub problem. So this is not anything that really shouldn't be done on a yearly basis anyway. And I just wanted to put that in there to kind of, you know, give more credence to what Miranda was sharing, because it doesn't seem like it has been done in a very long time, if ever. And I don't know, John, do you know anything about the history of what had been done to the fields kind of in the past?
No, it was done, the previous owners was a Kent private school, and they gave it up. And so we spent a year trying to find a company. Miranda found them, and we can only use organic fertilizers in our fields in the town of Kent. So
Yeah, which is, it is what it is. We don't have any other options, but unfortunately, they aren't. I mean, just to be straightforward, most of the organic products are just not as effective as some of the ones that aren't. But it is what it is. We don't have any other options. So, but that means
Yeah.
it's all the more reason why we have to be diligent, because otherwise nature wins, right?
Can I just ask, I know that this line item, the budget line item, where does that fall
So
in the
that's,
town budget?
so it is technically a park and rec line item, but it's actually, I don't know how to articulate it well. It's separately on the budget. So it doesn't fall under the park and rec section. Similar to how the community house, they consider it park and rec, but we don't do anything with that. It's, their budget is submitted separately. So this, I guess in theory, the playing field subcommittee, John, Rufus, you'd be the ones to speak to this, but in theory, the subcommittee should be submitting the budget, or does it come back through rec? I think that needs some clarification.
well, I would think the subcommittee would be able to tell you, because we're the ones that were in charge of it. So
So what would you say that the subcommittee should be submitting the budget?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Rufus, looked like you were speaking, but you're muted.
I think normally, if there was time, you'd go back to the commission, and then the commission includes all the information in their budget proposal when they do.
Makes the most sense.
And, we've had people come to us with a committee member in addition to whoever the department is, to, if there's any specific questions. Like Lynn might not know what Miranda knows or what John knows if she was doing the presentation.
Okay. Okay.
I forgot where the budget line is. It's in a weird place.
Yeah, it's, if you have it, the printout, it's definitely several pages further in. Let me get my backpack. I have the,
I'm asking because I just want to understand what the implications are on the existing park and rec budget, and if there's anything we need to be considering that when we're thinking about an $18,000.
Well, when Park and Rec came to us for the capital plan, we changed things around, so I think everybody was good with that. I mean, we haven't voted on anything yet, but my feeling was the other two selectmen were. And there really wasn't
just so you know, Rufus, sorry, the budget item is 04600, and it's right near the community house and the Swift house, and it's right previously before the transfer station.
okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So the ball field maintenance has been a lot less than what we're gonna ask for this year. So that might be a red flag for people. But what had been put in was the same as what was budgeted for the previous year. Automatically by the treasurer when she put in the latest budget proposal.
Yeah. So that was, I'm assuming, just by default.
By default, yeah. 8,750.
Well, that's, if that was minimum viable, and now what we're putting together with this $18,000 bid is, to really clean these fields up and get them usable again.
But
It seemed,
this is only, from my understanding, lawn care is only part of the issue. This doesn't
Right.
include doing anything about the infields or additional clay if we need it or anything like that.
Yeah, you're right, Rufus. And Miranda had also been working with Premier, I believe. Miranda, is that the name of the company?
Premier, yes.
Premier. And I won't even bother putting the quote up on the screen because it's actually super bare bones. But no, we would need to contract with them as well to maintain the infields, because if you don't maintain them, they become unsafe and grass will grow in a heartbeat. Believe it or not, the grass will grow there where we don't want it to grow, and it won't grow anywhere where we do. So
So
yes,
what-
that would
Jared,
also be
based on your previous experience, and perhaps John and Miranda, based on any research you've done, because I know you both have been chasing this for a while, is it reasonable to say it would, full package is double what we have right now in terms of this 18?
Oh.
I wouldn't say double. Miranda, what just because.
Well, you mean like double what is already in the line budget, or double this
Double the
quote?
fee. Yeah, double the fee. So when we add in the clay, the infields and the clay.
You mean going from 19 to 38?
I
What,
don't
Yeah,
know
I
if it's
don't-
that big of a jump.
I don't think
Um,
it'll be that much, but if you figure the 18,000, and then we got what, 900 a month for the infield maintenance.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm trying to find that quote. I just got that today, right? So yeah, was it 900? Is that what we said? Yeah,
I
450
think
plus
it was
450.
450 twice a month, so 900 times 7 plus 18, right there, that's 24,300. I just rounded it to 18, so it's not an exact number, but
Yeah.
and then there's other items too that you could consider, but those are the two main things.
Yeah, I mean, we will definitely need to do in time. It seems like we need to get a new shed and backstop improvements, scoreboard improvements, but I think we're probably that would be perhaps gratuitous to request any more than we may have to. So I would put that kind of on the second year of a multi-year plan, or even third. I think the fields right now are the first and foremost concern. So
so you're looking in excess of 25,000.
Yeah.
With the idea that maybe somebody might come in, I don't know how much clay is or anything like that. Maybe you guys should just say, there are 3 elements that we would like to complete. We've got concrete numbers for 2 of them and a ballpark estimate, and ask for 30,000.
okay,
Okay,
yeah, I
good.
started writing a narrative today. But continue, Rufus. Yeah, I'd like to,
Don't forget, gas has gone up now.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
And a lot of these chemicals are, a lot of these fertilizers are made with chemicals, so petroleum based.
yeah, I know this quote from New England Turf Management is up to date because we did go back to him and ask him to add aeration to it. So this is an up-to-date quote, as is Premier Turf. But as for getting, I could tell you, we used to get a tractor trailer full of clay from New York City delivered up to Kent, New York, and it was about $1,200. So you're looking at probably 1,500 maybe for a shipment of clay. So I think Rufus's idea of rounding to 30,000 sounds very fair, especially if we want to include rolling the field. I know we haven't, settled on that, and it's not really a necessary discussion tonight, but what do you, Abigail and John, what do you think about 30?
I'm good with that. I mean, I want to try and get that shed fixed though. Otherwise there'll be more vandalism. I mean, they tore that shed right apart. I don't know if anybody's been down there to look at it, but it's a disaster. And then it sits right on top of a groundhog nest. So that's not a great idea either.
Yeah, I know
Is that the
Miranda. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Sorry, that's a shed at the fields?
Yeah, there's the school shed which is kind of close to the school, and then there's the park and rec shed, which is, it's kind
Maybe
of,
we should just knock it down. What are we using it for?
We'll need it when time comes. We definitely, at a playing field like that, we should absolutely have a shed, since we don't have, it's not like it's at our rec center where we could go inside and get any materials, supplies we may need. But it sounds like John and Miranda, I haven't seen it or put eyes on it yet, but it sounds like John and Miranda, from my speaking with them, both agree. We just need to get a new one,
That's what I was my suggestion would be just knock it down and get a new one. And maybe between now and then we knock it down so it's not vandalized anymore.
Yeah.
well, and if we ask for 30, I mean, depending on how things shake out, that might cover a shed.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'm good on 30.
All right.
Sign it quickly before it reaches $6 a gallon.
Yeah.
Right?
30
Yeah, yeah.
seems,
Oh my
that
God.
seems to make sense with what you all have.
Okay, so in speaking with Jean today, basically I told her we are gonna have this meeting tonight, we're gonna discuss it, and then I'm gonna basically attach all these quotes and write a narrative about what we're asking for, why we're asking for it, and put together an articulate argument. So I think we discussed a lot of those points that I'll be adding tonight. Because was there, we talked about the condition that they're in, from a playability standpoint, they're just not where they need to be. And what that leads to too is a safety issue as well. I mean, you have lumpy fields, it's that much easier to, break an ankle, tear an ACL. And maybe with the young kids, that's highly unlikely, but they're also public usable fields. And, there needs to be a minimum level of, in my opinion, a minimum level of field quality. And I don't think we're there yet. So I'm going to kind of speak to all of that. But does anyone have anything specifically they
Jared,
wanted to add?
I think that the rationale you gave about the balled basketballs and that kids can't actually catch them and they just slide through their fingers and nothing's worse than getting a basketball in the face. I feel like this is the equivalent to that.
This is the
Playing on
field
fields that you
equivalent,
just
yeah.
can't, you can't run on, you're going to trip, the ball's going to bounce everywhere. So yeah, I think you got a good rationale. If you need help, like if you want a thought partner or someone to help edit or add, I'd be happy to help you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Abigail. Thank you.
And just make a
So-
little comment.
Yeah, Diane, sure.
Also, when you present, I mean, it sounds like we really need to get everything really up to par, the shed and everything, we need more money. But if you mention that, really what we need to get everything, up to speed is X amount, but we're only asking for this right now, just to make, kind of the fields playable and to get
Yeah.
going.
The first stage, so to speak.
Right. It might sound a little better than just.
Soften the blow.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I will keep that in mind for sure and try to write to that.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I
Miranda,
guess
I know you got to get going. The kids got to get to bed. Did you want to add anything else?
No, I don't have too much. I would just say that, the past few years, I think it was kind of easy to forget about the fields a little bit, just because we weren't running really any programs or very few programs. So I think people just kind of forgot forgot about them. And now that people are playing on them again, I've heard from when I was, doing the interim position, I heard from several people how kind of disappointed they were about the quality of the field. So I think, the more programs you run and the more programs and sports that the schools or the school is doing on the fields, I think the more we'll hear from the community about the field. So I think, trying to get out ahead and get them improved and just safe and in better condition than what they are now, I think is a good thing to do. So that's all I really have. But and they're really the only fields we have. So
Yeah. We're not like some other towns where the school has their own fields and the towns have their own fields. This is a true joint effort, and we've been tasked with the maintenance of that. And so I think it's something that, we want to put our best foot forward, because I think all of us have tremendous pride in what we're trying to do here. And yeah, the fields may be on property adjacent to the school, owned by another school, but we're tasked with maintaining them. And that's not something I personally, I take lightly. So. Do we need a motion of any sort, or can I take this and roll with it?
Make a motion that we present the total that we have for the playing fields committee to the Board of Selectmen.
I have a second. Any more discussion?
I just
All
wanted to
those in
say
favor?
thank you to Miranda for pursuing this and taking all that you learned from the interim director and still carrying that ball. Thanks.
well, you're very welcome. And Jared has done a lot of the work himself too. So I can't take total credit there, but
Definitely been a team effort. And just so you guys know, Miranda has been really a huge help for the past, what have I been here, 5.5 weeks? We talk almost on the daily, and really couldn't have done it without her. So I think a public thank you is certainly in order. And I just wanted you to hear it, Miranda, all that you do, because it's been invaluable.
thank you. I'm blushing over here, but thank you.
All right, well, you can go get going, and thanks for coming on, and I'll keep you posted. All right.
All right. Thank you guys.
Miranda.
Thanks. So we just have to, we had the second, and then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. So now we are moving on to the correspondence. Jared, you said you're gonna read that,
Yes, so
email.
Robert, I believe it's pronounced Mellis. He's actually on the Zoom right now, and he emailed me correspondence. There he is. With respect to the conditions at Kent Commons, and he also sent a follow-up email with pictures, just kind of to give me a visual of what he had written about. So I'm gonna read his email, and I will share my screen with the pictures, and I don't know what happens after that, so you guys can walk me through it, but I will, I'll go through it. I'll just give me 1 second to pull that up, please. All right, so on let me share my screen with the photos first, so that way, like I said, there's an image to go with this. Just give me 1 second here. Share screen. Here we go. All right, can you guys see that picture of a gentleman? And yeah, okay, good, excellent.
you.
So I will read the email. Correspond. Okay, so on 2/23, Robert emailed me, and he just wrote basically, my wife and I have returned from our morning walk through the town's tennis court swings area to the south of Templeton Farm. He was very displeased with the messy conditions, which I will scroll through all the photos so you can see them. The parking lot is underwater and rutted. The walkways, which he's referring to the path, the circular path around the park, is eroded over half of its length. The swings have deep ruts that make it unsafe. The entire area has the look of having been abandoned. And the only area that seems to be in any acceptable shape is the tennis courts. He, mentions how this is a hazard, and he understands that winter time is when maintenance is put off, but that this sends a very poor message to the community. And I paraphrased obviously on that, but that's basically it. And he requests that something be done, which, as you guys all know, we have been discussing. So I will scroll through the photos now. The first photo is erosion, the path immediately leading to the tennis court, as you can see. The next is the parking lot, which, as he said, is underwater. Is the scroll working?
Yep.
Okay. The third is another very long rut of erosion. I can't tell looking at that right there, but that rut is clearly several inches deep. That is the pathway to the, if you're in the parking lot, it's to the left of the pavilion. It clearly is underwater. It's hard to see in this picture, but the rut's under the swings. And then here is a very long kind of erosion channel. I don't know where in the park this is, but it's on the walking path.
That's from
obviously.
down from the pavilion.
Okay.
Can I speak to some of this?
Sure.
So, Robert, thanks for your email. And
Thank you,
we
Robert.
are working hard to put together a master plan to think through the future of both parks. We recognize that there are some issues with the design of the path and the aggregate that's used for that surface. I've personally been out there and I've raked that surface to try to smooth it out after a rainstorm. So all that, the big rut that you showed on the way up to the tennis court, I've been out there with a metal rake. I filled that all in, and I will let you know it washes away immediately after another rainstorm. So the angle of the slope is not appropriate for the material that we have covering it. And so it will continue to wash away until that's addressed. In terms of the parking lot, I have less to say on that other than it's muddy season, and that's the lowest point. So water is going to collect there. John, you may have some insight on that because we know drainage is an issue at Kent Common. And we are hoping to get a topographic survey of the park so we can really think through any moves that need to be done to the landscape topographically to try to create better drainage and direction of water to make the path easier to walk on and have it not wash out.
And the ground is frozen, so there's nowhere the water isn't going into the ground at the moment. So it's not going to be, it's pretty bad. We certainly know it's bad, but it's not going to be quite that bad. This is not our best look this time of year.
So Jared, you were working on an application for the ARPA funds?
Yeah, so this actually brings up a very important point, which was to be discussed later. But I think it certainly warrants at least mentioning now is, so for those who aren't familiar with what ARPA is, I don't know what the acronym stands for, but basically it's basically a stimulus money from the federal government to municipalities for important projects. And one of the 4 categories that the federal government deems of the most important is stormwater management practice. And I think it goes really almost without saying that there's really no stormwater management practice currently being used, or very minimal, at Kent Commons as well as Emory, which is another discussion right now. But John and I have been going back and forth, and we believe that the drainage solutions would be a really a perfect project for ARPA funds. So we're going to, like I said, this is going to be discussed later, but just so Robert's aware, we plan on bringing this to the attention of the town's ARPA committee and seeing where that can take us. Because really, what happens with erosion issues and runoff issues is they compound over time. So think of a river, a stream, a river valley, right? Sometime 1 million years ago, that was a stream running at the top of a mountain. And then 1 million years later, it became the Grand Canyon. Obviously, I'm not saying that's happening at Kent Commons, but the same principle applies that if we continue to let these issues go, they're going to do more and more and more damage. And so they need to be rectified, and they need to be rectified soon. So hopefully the ARPA committee will, it's certainly, listen, there's a lot of great projects in town. So who knows how ultimately the Board of Selectmen will prioritize, and they certainly have a tall task ahead of them. But I'm definitely excited to work with John to, make the pitch, if you will. And, just going to Robert's email, this is something we are aware of, and we share in your sentiment and the determination to rectify the problem.
I would add, Robert, I hope you also send that to the Board of Selectmen.
Ooh, Rufus, I like that.
And don't forget, Robert, we're still waiting to have the culvert repaired to the entranceway to the Commons tennis court there. Yeah. So that's been at least 2.5 years, almost 3 years now. By the Public Works Department. Have never done it yet.
So, Robert, since you're with us, was there
Shall
anything
we-
you wanted to add, or any question that we can answer?
He's on mute.
He might have stepped away.
Michael, should we move on?
I think, yeah, we'll move on. Robert, if you want to chime in, chime in at any point, feel free. Okay, moving on to director's report.
All right, I will keep it short and sweet this time. ASP is going really well for the most part. I will, I'm gonna ask for an executive session at some point, just to discuss something. I don't know how to articulate it. That can't be discussed
fine.
during.
I'm
Yeah.
saying executive session. I think
Yeah,
we
I'll ask for an
understand.
executive session at some point regarding ASP, but otherwise it's been going really well. And I feel I've made a really good connection with the kids, with the schools, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback. So I'm really pleased with how things are going. And obviously not having a director specifically for that program isn't ideal, but I think we're certainly making the best of it. And I think if you speak to the parents involved and even the children, I think you'll see that people are pleased that there's been some consistency, and that, like I said, I put planning and effort into each day. So I think the kids are getting a good experience.
What's our attendance right
just-
now?
No,
Usually it's about 10 kids. It's just kind of hovering there.
I join ASP at the end of the day on Tuesdays, and I've observed a really mellow scene and happy kids and well organized and happy parents. And I joined because I try to alleviate Jared so he can start basketball.
Yes, I appreciate that, Abigail. Thank you. So yeah, mellow is what we like, right? Mellow is good. It's good. They go out, they have fun, but it's been organized. So yeah. So that was the kind of the first thing in my director's report. The next thing was regarding kind of the online effort I'm making to kind of reinvigorate things. So we did get an email list up and running. The email list, we then created a simple form to join it. You literally click a button and it says enter your email, and then you do, and then you're on the email list. And so we went from having like 40 uploaded emails to now, I think today we have around 170 emails on the email list, and that was only in 2 weeks. So I think we're doing a really good job of building that. And what that'll enable us to do is really disseminate the word as we start programs, run events, etc. And the key is to not spam people, but as a program opens up, hey, just so you know, bowling registration started, or hey, don't forget the Easter egg hunts next week. Whatever it may be, kind of giving people kind of very brief and basic news blasts. And we've been doing that with the ice skating, and so far so good. So I just wanted to let you know that's doing well. Our Facebook following has improved also. And then I have spoken with Darlene, and I did get a user access to the town website. So we're going to scrap the third-party website we're using, bring it all back under the town's website. And what we'll do is we'll have a page for every park, for every program, drop-down menus, the whole nine. It will take me some time. It's not going to happen overnight. It is a lot of work, but I'm committed to hopefully having that done certainly, by the end of the month. So those are really the only things I wanted to talk about that we're not going to discuss at another point in this meeting. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll keep at it.
I have
Any-
one question, Jared.
Yes.
Sort of related to where you're going with the technology. Are you looking for software to take checks and credit cards? Not
Yes,
checks,
yeah,
credit cards.
we had added that to the agenda at another point. I don't know, Michael, where we put it, but if you want, we can discuss that now.
No,
It's
if
up
it's
to you.
on, sorry, I didn't look down.
Oh, no, it was added in at the beginning of the meeting, that's all.
Okay.
So we'll leave it to
Never mind.
then, or, okay, all right, cool. So that's my report, short and sweet.
Thanks, Jared. Moving on to public comment.
Just have that.
Yeah, okay. Moving on to old business, the ASP director search update.
I don't know, is Lynn heading that up?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think there's been any news or any movement on that.
But I think now's a good time when everybody's opening up, when the mask mandates are being released. It's just that I think it's a good time to try and put it in the paper again. What do you think? Paul?
I couldn't agree more. I think, I don't know if it will work or not, but we got to keep trying, so absolutely. Good a time as ever.
Okay, well, then I guess we can keep it moving, and love to hear about how Free Skate wrapped up.
I'll keep that short and sweet. Free Skate was awesome. I think the fact that we only were able to advertise literally 3 days before the first Free Skate. I think once again, I think this is a testament to how we're starting to build up the online and virtual communication. We had about 50 people at each session. And everybody was happy, only positive things. There's a little issue over the fact that the school this year newly required adults to have helmets. So some people weren't too thrilled with that, but that I triple checked with the school, and that is their requirement. And so we don't have any options on that. But otherwise, great turnout. Lee and Jim were awesome as always. Can't speak highly enough of all the effort that they put in. And I went to each session, and I basically acted as the person who checked people in, took funds, etc. Lee and Jim were out on the ice, making sure everybody was safe, keeping their helmets on, yada, yada. And, I think next year we obviously start significantly earlier, and I think we'll really, really build a dynamite following for that. So it was awesome, and can't wait to bring it back again.
Yeah, it's great.
And
Yeah.
thanks.
So,
I was gonna say thanks to John and Lynn for spearheading that and,
Yes, absolutely.
squeezing it in right at the end. I think that everybody that I saw out there was really, really happy.
I would agree. Absolutely.
yeah, they're such great rinks, so it's great they get used. Okay, going on to our spring programming. USTA tennis program. I guess I'll take that one. The ball is in the USTA's court for finding a coach at the moment.
Michael, did you get Julia's email? She sent it maybe 20 minutes before the meeting.
I did not.
So, I'm sorry, she sent it earlier, probably around 4 o'clock. And
Oh, okay.
it was just to me. She said, the USTA hasn't gotten back to her about any coaches. She had a lead for a tennis coach, but it won't work. And she's leaning towards the idea of just keeping it as a single season fall program.
Yeah, I think that's the fallback, unless something comes in, and I think this can be organized pretty quickly because we have all the supplies.
Yep, it's all at the office.
What
Yeah.
what ages are being taught, and what ages could a coach be?
So the ages are 5 to 12 is the range we're doing. It's a beginner program essentially. And I would say college age would be great. High school might be a little iffy. Just because it's can be a lot of kids that you have to keep focused and show some authority over and such. So I think it would be perfect for a college student, which might be tough for the spring, but would be good for the summer.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off. I am not familiar intimately with the program, but I've, learned a little from Michael and from Julia, doing a little homework on old documents and whatnot. But yeah, definitely not a program of this nature. I wouldn't really want, not that there aren't some great high schoolers around, but I wouldn't want a high schooler kind of taking the lead on that. I think college would definitely be the minimum. Or college aged, I should say.
Yeah, and I also think a parent would work great as an assistant if someone just had some background playing tennis and was going to be there watching their kids anyways. That would definitely work too.
You want to send out an email to those people, Mike?
That's a good idea, John.
Yeah, when I when I last spoke with Julia, she was going to kind of run point on this just to alleviate some of the
Okay. No problem.
workload on me. So Michael, if you want to coordinate with her, my gratitude would be endless. So I would appreciate that. And whatever you guys kind of come back with, obviously we'll take your suggestions and advice, as the way to run.
Yeah, if I know Julia and this USTA person, I'm sure in the next week or so I'll be hearing from them, just because it's been a couple weeks now, but I'll definitely circle up and get some answers on the spring.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, no problem.
There's I'm going to email, I should have done this before the meeting. I'm going to email a parent in Cornwall. All their kids went through Housatonic playing tennis. And she might have a lead.
Great.
So
Okay, cool.
see what-
Awesome.
Okay, baseball and softball update.
Okay, so we have some options here, and I had a meeting, as I said I would, with some of the other rec directors in town, or not in town, in the area, in the Region 1. There we go. And so similar to soccer, it seems like there's the option to do kind of a joint regional effort. And from what they had told me, Kent hasn't always participated in the regional baseball, softball program. And so I guess I really today wanted to have the discussion about what everyone's thoughts are, what we've done in the past, why we've done it that way, how we'd like to move forward. I mean, any of the options we have, whether it be just doing something local and in-house, I have experience with doing the intertown Region 1 thing. It's not something I haven't done before either. In Kent, New York, we had a lot of intertown leagues and programs that we were a part of. But really, being the newbie here, if you will, I'm just wondering what the thoughts, feelings, the sentiment is, both on the board, or the commission, I should say, and the community.
I really think this is something that's worth surveying the community and parents, within KCS to understand what their desires are.
We lose a lot of kids due to the fact that the other programs in our nearby towns are really the best. Washington and New Milford. So that's where a lot of the kids, the parents bring their kids to. Right, Rufus?
Well, I know that, yeah, I know New Milford's programs have shrunk in numbers considerably over the last few years, but they are They are more developed, so.
Same thing with Washington. Washington has a great reputation.
Yeah, baseball and softball, certainly it is around the entire country is on the decline. Like I said, I know people out in Nevada, people out in New Hampshire, and it's the same everywhere. But you know, I'm determined to certainly rebuild our program the best we can. It's just like Abigail said, really knowing what the residents want is important. You know, if we do the Region 1 thing, there's going to be some travel involved. It's, you know, a lot of it, I guess, takes place at high school or in different towns. So that's something that needs to be factored in. If we keep it in-house, which basically means it's Kent, in Kent, with Kent residents, programs will be smaller, and we may not be able to field enough children to play games. It may just be clinic skill development, as Abigail set up for basketball. So those are it's all kind of factors we need to keep in mind. However, the unfortunate part is it's already, you know, March 7th, and you know, spring is coming soon.
So we meet every other week, more or less now, every 2 weeks. Because we have the special meeting in the beginning of the month, and then our regular meeting the third week. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I
it
think
seems like
both
it's
those
twice a month.
meetings are regular now.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, yeah.
They are both regular.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm asking because if we could, you know, using your email list, Jared, put together, you know, a query for that list and say, here are the options and here are the implications. What's your preference? And then we could have a really good sense from the community of their preference, and then we could plan some programs.
Got it. Yeah, agreed. I believe that would be a great idea. We would really need to do it like this. It would need to be done more or less like, because we need to let, you know, these other towns need to kind of know what we're thinking. If we're in, it certainly adds a whole different element to what they're planning. So I'm never ashamed to ask for help. If someone wants to help set up a survey, I can certainly get it out easily. But if someone wants to do the you know, go on Survey Monkey and just do a quick 10-question free survey, that would be certainly a great help.
I'm
And I
hoping
mean,
it's like
I could get it out tomorrow if you want.
a 3-question survey, and maybe we could even just use Google Forms. I don't have the mental capacity. I'm happy to edit something if someone throws something together, but I just don't have the mental capacity to start something from scratch.
Noah, if you're right. You know what? I'll a brief survey. I could knock that out quick in Survey Monkey. That's no problem. I don't know. I don't do Google Forms, so I'll just do a Survey Monkey. I'll get it done. No problem.
Yeah,
It'll be out.
I'm
It'll be out
Jared,
tonight.
if you wanna, if you put something together, I can add to it. Sometimes I just can't start from the blank page.
No, I totally understand. I'm making myself a note right now. All right. Yeah, I'll get it done. I'll get it done. I'll get it out probably tonight, if not tomorrow morning. And I'll just tell people, like, you know, we need responses ASAP because we want to make sure we are able to roll out a program in a timely fashion. So really kind of encourage people to get on it.
And we're thinking about ages K through 8, K through.
Oh,
do we
my
have any
goal-
thoughts on ages?
So that actually, you know, brings up the next point, and I'm glad you mentioned it, Abigail, because I may have forgotten. I would like to, I see no reason why we not to advertise programs for K through, or actually, yeah, I see no reason not to advertise programs for K through 12. And worst case scenario, we tell people we're unable to run the programs. But if we were to get a handful of high schoolers who wanted to come out each week and do batting practice and take ground balls and do little scrimmages, like, I think it would be great to offer that. So one of my goals, as I said to you guys when I interviewed and shortly thereafter, was to really, you know, give children of all age groups the opportunity. So I think we really should be aggressive in how we advertise it.
Awesome. So when you write the survey, it might be great to have some ideas like the program. These are some thoughts on the program, which would be of most interest to your family.
Got it. Yep, absolutely. Consider it done.
Awesome. Thank you.
I hate adding things to your plate, Jared.
Don't even worry about it. I got a long night ahead of me. I'm gonna get some pasta and I'm gonna power through. So this creating a survey like this shouldn't be too much. So don't even worry about it. And then the one thing I will say is I also want to really try to do this 3 and 4-year-old baseball clinic that I told you guys about called Start Smart. So I'd like to include that in advertising as well. That would not be a regional thing. That would be local. I mean, we're not going to ask 3-year-olds to go travel all the way over there, wherever to play. This would be a regional thing run locally. We would have to hire a coordinator to run the program. It's a specific program and I would not want to leave it in the hands of a volunteer. Not that I don't trust our volunteers, but it needs a consistent, reliable person who's running it. So I think that's something though that we wouldn't start till May anyway. So we can table that till the next meeting because obviously it's already after 8 o'clock and I don't want to add too much. So just something to keep in the back of your heads.
But probably worth putting in your survey.
Okay.
Because
Sounds
that's like, I think the surveys, it would be great to have it be regional versus local and then some options of what kind
Just
of
keep
programming.
adding more for me, Abigail.
I'm
I see
sorry,
how
but
it
this,
is.
I
No,
think,
I'm just
I
kidding.
think if you're gonna make the effort.
Well, I mean,
just
this is
like
this is almost a separate
select all
program.
that's of interest.
I agree. I mean, I think there's it's very likely. I mean, the parents, all I've heard is the parents of 3 years, 4-year-olds want things to do. So I think it'll be great. It's really just a matter of setting the pricing and figuring out if we're going to hire someone and all that, but I'll include it in there. Absolutely.
Great. Slamma Jamma basketball.
We're still waiting to find a facility for that. So that's been a big, I think, source of frustration. So I contacted the South Kent school. I did not hear back. I contacted the Kent school. They had availability in August, but the Slamma Jamma people did not have a coach available in August. So I emailed twice regarding July. I'm waiting to hear back from them. So the fallback is the Kent Center School, but they expect over 40 kids, through for children through 9th grade. Or 3rd through 9th grade. I'm sorry. And I don't have the ages in front of me. Sorry, but it goes into older kids, and I don't think 40 kids in the Kent Center School gym is really. I mean, it really should be the last case scenario. So that's all I have right now to report.
Got it. Okay, mountain bike camp update.
Yeah, it was approved last meeting. We're working right now on kind of putting everything together to advertise and get signups through. The signups would go through them. I just need Barbara, our treasurer, to sign off on that. So once I hear from that, we'll rock and roll with getting registrations.
Very good. Okay, moving on to parks updates. Any update on the pickleball court prep as far as the lines?
No updates.
John, I checked out the nets. They looked good over at the tennis courts.
Good, that'll save us some money for next year.
Yeah. I lost my spot. Oh, okay. Bartlett Tree Emerald Ash borer treatment.
We're on their schedule for June. I did hear back this morning actually, so we're good.
Great. So Emery Park and Camp Kent.
No updates.
Okay.
But I do think sooner rather than later, we need to authorize advertising for lifeguards and counselors and a head, whatever, a camp director. I really, Lynn and I haven't sat down and talked about it yet. So I don't, honestly, I'm going to be frank with you guys. I'm a blank slate with respect to this camp. And so Lynn and I are gonna sit down so I can really learn, because I don't know enough about kind of how we're gonna move forward to really speak with any authority on the matter. So if anybody wants to weigh in here, I'm happy to learn, but right now I just can't comment because I just don't know really anything. So, sorry.
Commissioners, do you think it would behoove us to just go ahead and get Jared the green light to advertise for counselors and lifeguards so we don't get caught behind the curve? Not to say he has to do it tomorrow, but at least then we don't have to, he doesn't have
Give
to
it
wait
more
for
to-
us. What,
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
sorry,
if
John, what?
Abigail said you have to do it tomorrow, I'd just walk
No,
right off
I'm
this
just saying,
meeting.
like, just because we make the motion right now doesn't mean he has to go advertise, next
Yeah,
week.
but it becomes a
He can
standing
get-
approval.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense, Abigail. Absolutely. Let's, let's be prepared when we're ready to advertise instead of having to wait then until the next meeting.
so, I'd like to make a motion for advertising lifeguards and counselors for Camp Kent.
Have
And,
a second?
Second.
And I believe we have the hourlies budgeted.
Yep.
So that's something that we could include in the advertisements. And then.
I think we're gonna have to have a discussion about those salaries. I know
Okay.
obviously it's all put in the budget, but we have the camp director making less than the head lifeguard. And we have the camp director making less than the ASP director by a significant amount. So, listen, that's, you guys obviously set salaries. I don't really have a say in that, but it was certainly, when I looked at it, I was a little confused. So at least a discussion about it, I think, is warranted.
So the Connecticut Park and Recreation Association decided that 19 was a fair average price for lifeguards due to the fact there's a great shortage of lifeguards. And they figured that 19 would be the average salary per hour wage.
Yeah, there's a huge shortage. It's everywhere. And
Yeah.
you're right. We have to be able to pay what kids are going and working at Taco Bell and making just as much money. So yeah, we got to be competitive. Absolutely.
So we can now, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
When did you want to advertise this stuff?
so I just want to clarify that Jared should not advertise until we have a clear understanding of what we're doing with the camp. But he has, once he knows what that is, he can advertise for the position. But I think right now, you have some questions that you need to have answered, and then you can advertise.
Yeah, I
Just
really,
clarifying that.
I
Don't go
think
running and advertising tomorrow, please.
no,
And maybe-
you don't have
maybe
to worry
we're-
about that,
Maybe
Abigail.
this is why we can't do these types of things.
No, I will not be running an advertising tomorrow until, like you said, I have a clear understanding of how the camp's going to run. I understand how a camp runs, but how this camp runs and what we're expecting from each role. I wouldn't advertise until we have a clear understanding of the responsibilities of the camp director, responsibilities of counselors, responsibilities of a head lifeguard versus the regular lifeguard, how we plan on getting them certified if they're not already certified. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions, and we can't move forward until those are answered. But like you said, once they are, instead of having to wait 2 weeks for the next meeting, we can just rock and roll. So I appreciate, Abigail, you bringing this up, and everyone, moving as such, whatever the terminology is.
Michael, are we good with
Yep.
this motion?
We're good. We're good. And that brings us to budget for fiscal year 23.
It was already submitted, so Lynn would be the person to kind of head this up, but I don't know if there's a whole lot to really say about at least the general operating budget at this point, right, Rufus?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No
Okay.
update.
No update. Got it. I don't believe there's an update from the bylaws committee that I know of.
There is not. I'm drafting you all an email to try to schedule our next meeting.
Great. Thanks, Abigail. And we already.
Sorry, Abigail. And I had emailed Abigail because I finally got to take a look at the bylaws and just sent her some thoughts and ideas. And you know, I appreciate your appreciate you being receptive to them, Abigail. And permit me if I'm out of line or whatnot, you know, please tell me so. But is it possible to be a guest or a member of or an invitee to one of
Yep.
those meetings?
Yes.
Well, keep it in mind if you so choose.
Yes. Yes. I think it would make a lot of sense to have you join whenever it's scheduled.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Got it. So we did the playing field subcommittee update, master plan committee update.
Nothing though, John, if the topo can be done of Kent Common, that'd be a great piece of information for whoever puts the master plan together.
John,
Okay. So that
before you continue, I did want to just say, with respect to the master plan, I certainly am not currently ready to really do a whole lot of discussion on this personally, but I think it's been kicking around in my head that, you know, we have a lot of different projects, ideas, etc., floating around, but really all of that, and I think Abigail, I had mentioned this to you on the phone one day, all of that hinges on the master plan, right? So for example, there's money for the playgrounds, right? But we're not going to put money into a playground until we know what the plan is for the master plan and ultimately what that master plan would be. Because heaven forbid we put $50,000 into a new playground and then a master plan comes in and says that's the worst place for the location for the playground. We need to move it. So I do think, you know, just as an outsider in this or the newbie, if you will, I'm starting to see a lot of things that really chicken and egg type things. And I think really having a clear understanding of exactly where the master plan lands and all of this is going to be a super important discussion, you know, in the near term, especially if we do get ARPA funding or whatever else. So I think the master plan, although like I said, I haven't done a lot with it, I think it's really going to be a very important point of discussion moving forward. And I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So.
got it. Yep, that's makes sense. So this is the online registration portion of the evening.
Yes. Okay. So I will keep it quick because we're making really good time. Abigail, last time we spoke, she was like, we need to keep these meetings under an hour and a half. So I'm doing it for you, Abigail.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So first, online registration. We did a Zoom call for Civic Rec, which is an online registration company. They happen to be an arm of our current website host, which is Civic Plus. And it went really well. Good attendance. Rufus was there. Julia came. Gene, a few other people from town. And basically they showed us the software and the whole nine. People really, Civic Rec aside, people, I think, Rufus, you'd probably share in this assessment. Everyone was excited for the prospect of having this capability. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah. So I got a quote from Civic Rec and I will share that on the screen. But I'm going to be straightforward and I wish Lynn were here because she would be the one to tell me if I'm speaking too much or whatnot, but I wasn't in love with the quote, to be honest. And I said as much to our sales rep. You know, I expected it to be lower and it wasn't. And I will share that on the screen if you guys give me one moment.
I think it's fine for you to share your professional opinion on these things, Jared.
Okay, cool. I'd like to do it in a respectful way. And you know, certainly Civic Rec is I mean, they are a phenomenal company, and I can say that because I've used them, and the technology they offer is certainly superior. But unfortunately, it all comes down to the dollars and cents. I mean, you guys know that as well as I do. So, all right, I have. Okay, so the quote I got from Civic Rec is a GSA quote, which means it's on federal contract, which means it would exempt us from competitive bidding because competitive bidding was already done. And I'm just having trouble sharing my screen, so bear with me. Here we go. Can you guys see? It's just a form that hasn't been filled out.
Yeah.
You guys see? Okay. All right. So let me scroll this, which of course, here we go. So the quote came to for the first year fee, which includes implementation as well as the software for a year, $7,800. And you can actually reduce that probably to 7,000 because we wouldn't need the trainer. So it came to a 7,000, and then thereafter it was $4,700 for the annual service. And listen, Civic Rec is really, really good. And I since have gotten quotes from other companies because I wasn't in love with this quote. And I will say I got a quote from one company and the other one I'm still waiting on. But what Civic Rec offers really can't be matched. You get amazing features, but at the same time, we're a small municipality with limited residents, limited program involvement. And so you have to ask yourself, are we paying for more than what we need? And if the costs were low, it would be like, okay, well, hey, let's go for it. But the cost isn't low. We're looking at $7,000 just to implement it and run it for a year, and then about $5,000 every year thereafter. And as far as I can tell, while we will increase program enrollment, it's a small town. It will probably always be a small town, and there will be a plateau. So having seen this, I went and I contacted another company called MyRec, which is they're basically the same type of company. I sat through their demo a couple years ago. Very, very pleased with the services they provide. It does not go as deep as Civic Rec goes, but once again, the question is, do we need to go as deep as Civic Rec goes? And I got a quote from them. They actually got it emailed over today, and it was no implementation fee and just a $3,000 annual fee. So I don't really need to upload the quote because it literally just says $3,000 every year. And I know people who use the software, and I also spoke with the director over in Litchfield, and everyone I've spoken to about it loves it. Like I said, it doesn't have some of the great technological features, but I don't think it's the end all be all. Excuse me, that was embarrassing. I don't think it's the end all be all. And so basically, I just wanted to kind of discuss what you guys were hoping to see, answer questions, and then hopefully, because Gene Speck did say we need to get, if we're going to put this in the budget, it needs to be, we need to have a dollar amount in there for tomorrow. So I'm hoping we can have a discussion about it and then make a decision about how we want to proceed, at least with how much we want to budget. So first, I'll take any questions. Kate,
So-
you have a pensive look on your face.
Can you give us an example of the lack of depth of the other quote, the
Yeah.
other companies, so we understand?
So for example, Civic Rec, you can literally, reporting is the big thing, right? And generally with that, I mean financials. So what's great about Civic Rec, right, is that I can literally have Barbara log onto the system, tell me everything she wants to report on, and then set the computer where every week, every day, every month, whatever she wants, she's going to get a report on all of the items she asked for. So I don't have to print anything. I don't have to leave it in her box. She's going to have it come to her at whatever schedule she wants with whatever info she wants. And it's rectifying. I mean, the task almost does it itself. With MyRec, they don't have that capability. So we still have to print reports or email reports and do things. There's a little more manual labor involved. But once again, we're not talking about a municipality here that does $1 million in revenue. We're talking about a municipality that's maybe going to take in 60,000. So if you were to ask me as the person who's going to do the work anyway, is that something I'm willing to cut in order to save some money? My answer would be yes. That was the main thing. There are a few things with kind of communications and emails that Civic Rec did a little smoother, but we have constant contact, and SMS is still available in both, which is text messaging. So while it did, my rec, for example, doesn't have as intensive as communication abilities, it still has enough communication abilities for our coaches and program managers. Those were the two main things. Otherwise, I mean, honestly, going online, clicking a button, viewing the program, hitting it, adding it to your cart, it's all the same. And it looks different, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still user friendly. And they're, my rec is used by a lot of different rec departments as well as Civic. So it's not like they haven't tested this and they continue to be successful.
My question is to Rufus. Rufus, what have they done so far to improve the computers at Town Hall? Because the last two meetings, they've had nothing but problems with downloading information.
They've tried to update the hardware, and that's about it. The real problem is, the Town Hall does not have fiber optics, which would give for a much broader bandwidth. And that's part of the problem. They can't, a lot of these programs demand greater bandwidth, the assessors, whatnot. So, and I know, they want to add a couple of new programs, different departments. So we've got to try to figure out how to get the Town Hall online with fiber optics.
I will say, kind of in response to both Rufus and John, this is entirely web-based. So outside of browser speed, there's no downloading or whatnot. I mean, at the end of each quarter or whatever, we're going to download whatever databases we need to. So that way we have them for record keeping purposes. But outside of this, it's totally web-based. So you could do it from your cell phone. I mean, from a user point of view, you could do it from wherever you want. Cell phone, I don't know, smartwatch, I don't know what those things do. But from a managerial standpoint, we like I said, you can log in from your computer. If you need to, as an instructor, log into your phone. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that, John. I mean, it seems like it's a greater concern for a lot of other things, but I wouldn't let it stand in the way of this.
So Jared, my question earlier was going to be, and still is, the ability to pay by credit card.
So
And my
sorry.
question is, was that going to be part of Civic Rec or, okay, because I'm just thinking from hearing from different departments, because there are other departments in Town Hall that are also looking for that ability. Is there something that the different departments could combine efforts on and go with one company? Would that make more sense, or is that
unfortunately
wouldn't work for Park and Rec? Because
it wouldn't work. Yeah, it wouldn't work for Park and Rec. And traditionally, honestly, in most park and rec departments, like the Park and Rec office isn't even in the Town Hall. It's in a rec center, or it's at some other third party, like the community house or something similar. So Park and Rec has always kind of existed as a government entity, but kind of it operates kind of like the fire department might operate, or the police department, and so that's kind of always been, I think, the theory why things have always just been kind of Park and Rec does its own bubble. But with respect to all of these, the ability to process credit cards comes with the package, and it's a package specific to Parks and Rec. So it's not like we could just say, oh, Parks and Rec is going to implement global payments as part of Civic Rec, and all the other departments are going to piggyback off that. I'm not saying Global Payments wouldn't potentially have something, but it would be totally separate from what we do. And whether it be Civic Rec, MyRec, Rec Desk, which is the other one I'm waiting for a quote on, it would be its own bubble. So, but it would cover everything. So credit card payments would be Visa, MasterCard, probably Discover, maybe, would all be accepted. We wouldn't need a reader because anybody who comes in and says, hey, I want to pay credit card, we just pop open the computer and sign them up through that. So, and then they can write check or cash. They can write a check or pay by cash or money order as well.
Right. Okay.
But that might be a reason to not pony up a bunch of cash for setup. Because if in the future there is that capability, which I feel like with databases, they're always evolving and getting better. And
100%.
it could be like in a year and 2 years, there would be a way to integrate a lot of different departments, perhaps. Do you know, am I? So
No,
maybe it's better to take
Makes
it
total sense.
1 year at a time.
Yeah, and if I can piggyback off that, Kate, that's something I had thought about earlier, but you just brought to my mind, is the fact that with MyRec, we're paying the yearly subscription fee and nothing else. So if ultimately the programs grow to the extent that we're like, wow, we need a software with better capabilities, we've lost nothing in the process. We paid per year for a service that we received per year. So I think Kate makes an excellent point about ponying up. Let's say we pony up $7,000 and everyone is like, Civic Rec isn't working. I don't think that could possibly happen because they're that good. But let's say in theory it happened. We're out 7,000. With MyRec, we're out nothing.
Yeah, I think MyRec is my preferred recommendation.
Who just said in like a yawning voice? So
Getting
one thing I
punchy.
will,
We better wrap things up.
yes, exactly, the yawn, the 8:30 yawn. With MyRec, they are not on a government contract. They chose not to participate in that. So I'm still waiting to hear on a third quote to do our due diligence, obviously. So what I believe we do need to do though is basically pitch I need to be able to, same thing I'm doing with the playing field subcommittee, is I need to be able to write a letter to the town selectmen and say, hey, this is the amount of money we'd like to budget that based on our current homework. We have not made a recommendation yet on which program or company we're going to go with, but this is the amount of money we believe it's going to cost us. And so if we believe MyRec is right now the leader, then we can easily say we would like to budget $3,000. And if Rec Desk comes back with an even better price, or Civic Rec says, you know what, we can match or whatever, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a bunch of random stuff. Well, we know we've budgeted for it. So really what we need to do more today than accept a quote is make a motion or whatever at some kind of where I can go forward and say to the town selectmen, we'd like to budget $3,000 for online online registration and program management.
Yeah.
Someone want to make that motion?
All right, making a lot of motions tonight, but I make a motion for Jared to request a $3,000 budget for online registration software.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Aye.
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 Hey, Jared, does the MyRec, what's it called when the website adapts to be on your phone? So you're not on a website on your phone.
Yeah, is it
What's that called?
mobile compatible? Or whatever.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
morphs into a phone.
Yeah.
It does that. Okay.
Yes, yeah. They all do, honestly, they all.
At this point, they all do. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, honestly, more people probably use their phones than their computers, to be honest. So.
Right. But right.
Yep, good thing to confirm though. Okay, new business. Oh, sorry. Approval of the invoice payment to youth services.
Yeah, there's some question about this. I don't think you guys need me to share the screen, but it's $1,527, I believe, to the Housatonic Youth Services Bureau for their running of the after-school program. And I will open that up real quick just to give you guys a around.
It was about $21 an hour for
Yeah.
2 staff.
Exactly, yeah. So,
At-
and they did, how many sessions did they do, Abigail?
It looks like
You know?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
10?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least that's what they have in the invoice. The
Yeah.
18th of January through the 4th of February. And they
Yeah.
came
As Abigail
the
said,
18th, 20th, 21st. Yeah, anyways, I don't need to read it out.
Yeah. So as Abigail said, 2 staff members, 3 hours each, $21 an hour each. And that was the agreement they believed they had with the commission. But when I went to talk to Marcy in the finance office about it, she was confused and said that wasn't the agreement. So Lynn just suggested that we bring it to the board. And I mean, basically, I mean, unless there's some glaring issue, I think this just needs to be approved. I mean, they kept the program going when we didn't have it. And I don't know if anyone has any intel as to where the lines of communication may have been.
I know there was an email. I don't think it was clear to the commission what the payment was going to be for this. At
It
least
wasn't clear, Abigail.
I don't either. I think that they brought in more people than I think we thought they were going to.
It looks like it's 21 for the both staff per hour.
Yeah.
Which is
$21 for 2 staff,
just
3
pretty,
hours each. Yeah,
pretty reasonable.
it's incredibly reasonable.
Yeah.
I just don't,
Hey,
I don't remember this being discussed, but perhaps it was discussed in a meeting.
I don't think
that
we
I wasn't
ever-
a part of.
I don't think it was discussed as to, we went there, or maybe Lynn got them to be the director, but not to have 2 people. That's the only thing, but be it as it may, it's, the money's there. So I think we should probably pay it since that's what they provided.
Yeah. And one thing, I mean, at the end of the day, one person being the program director, they were going to make 21 anyway. If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So the other person went from making whatever, I think like Skylar and everybody makes 15 to 21, but they are trained, they're social workers. And so we were paying for a more premium product, if you will. And at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know who said it, but the money is there and we're saving money right now because we don't even have a director. So, and they provided us with a very good service. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I don't have any decision. I'm not involved in this stuff. That's you guys as the commission, but those are my thoughts. They did right by us,
What was the total amount?
Abigail?
$1,612.
I make a motion, we pay that.
Second,
I
all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Does the commission approve all bills? Is that how it
No.
works?
No.
That's something I
Over a
asked
certain-
Abigail. I think we need clarification on, with the bylaws, right? What the thresholds are.
Because right now the thresholds are really low. And I think we probably need to make them a little higher so we don't have to approve everything.
Yeah, it seems a bit tiresome.
Yes.
What I had.
But
and-
I'm glad,
sorry.
Jared, that you put this in front of us, this bill, because this is extremely reasonable. And perhaps we want to partner with this group in the future for ASP, if that's a possibility.
Well, I don't know if it is, but I will say that we've been discussing partnering in other ways. But yeah, I think it's something,
Great.
we need to keep those lines of communication open. They're a great organization, and I've only known them for 5 weeks and I already love them. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, any way we can have them involved is great.
Awesome.
Are you guys under the impression that it's I think he's saying that it's $21 an hour per person for each of the two people, not for both of them. Did you guys think it was for both of them?
I do because of the total at the bottom.
Total.
Oh, so it was
Yeah.
$21 an hour for two people?
So it was $21 an hour per person per session.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's. what I
okay.
thought.
So
thought-
basically, it was $42 an hour for the two people to come.
Okay, yeah, because I thought maybe they were, I thought the rest of you guys were thinking it was $21 an hour for both people. Okay.
I did say that. Sorry.
I'm out. I'm not supposed to be talking.
No.
No, you're allowed, aren't you allowed to talk, Diane?
don't
It's just that
know.
you can't vote. I think you're, yes, please talk.
All right.
I just think when it
Okay.
comes to voting, first, wah, wah.
I think that just, I know you
Got
guys have
ourselves in
been
the foot
on
with
this
that
forever
one.
and ever, but I do remember Lynn saying, I don't even know if they're gonna bill us or they're doing it like as charity, whatever, but she said, it doesn't matter, we need somebody in there, so. I don't know that she even knew what they were gonna charge us, because I think she even talked about donating money to them if they weren't gonna bill us at one time for bailing us out, something like that.
Actually, Diane, that rings a very vague bell. But they've invoiced us and I
Right,
mean,
I
they,
should
yeah,
say it.
this is the most straightforward way, they invoiced us for services they provided and,
Yeah, for sure. I say you pay it.
all right.
Okay, so we're in agreement there. New business, spring programming, spring extravaganza discussion.
Do you like that name, Abigail? Do you like it? Extravaganza?
Oh, come on. Yes.
Is it good or is it too cheesy?
Everything you do is wonderful, Jared.
Sometimes I feel like Abigail's just secretly laughing at me because she's always like, it's wonderful, it's fantastic, it's amazing.
Jared, I think I say this to you often, that we're so grateful you're here and we really appreciate all the time and effort and the work you do. We really
Thank
do.
you guys for giving me a
Your
job. So, I
energy,
mean,
it's been awesome.
I second that.
well, thank you guys. Thank you.
So moved. It is a new, it is a
It's
new
an
day.
I
official
hear
motion.
nothing but positive things all over town.
It is a new
Yeah, I'm glad
day
to
in the
hear
Kent
that.
Parks and Rec.
Excellent. Well, with that said, I'd like to do an egg hunt. I'd like to do it in the traditional fashion that it's been done in years past. I'm not saying that this will be the way we do it in the future. I do have other ideas and whatnot, but Easter, April, it's around the corner, and I'm just not in a position to reinvent the wheel. But what I will say is that I had a meeting with the HYSB today, and they're going to be involved in the event. They're trying to get the local regional area Girl Scouts to be involved as well. And then I have a meeting with the library next week, and I'm going to see if they want to get on board too. So we kind of have a big, it's going to be an egg hunt, but it's going to be multiple groups there doing little activities for the kids. We're going to play some music, and it should make for kind of a little mini festival type of atmosphere. Not going to be major, but I'd like to do it at the town hall, which is where it's been done in the past. Put a whole bunch of eggs out, toys, candy, goodies. The kids go around, pick it up. And, they check their eggs. If they have a gold coin, they get a special prize from one of the tents. And then they can check out the other tents and play games with the HYSB or check out crafts or whatever else. And bing, bang, boom. I know that was a very, very brief description, but I'm assuming you're all familiar with how it's been done for the past few years, or do you need me to go into that in more detail?
No,
Nope, I
Sounds-
know we
sounds
did
awesome.
we did like a painting thing last year in lieu of this, but sounds great.
Yeah, I know last year everyone was still a lot of COVID concerns, but I think we've all understand now outdoors we're good. And people know, I mean, it's an inherent risk basically. And if you're concerned, obviously come out with a mask, etc. We'll have masks available for people who don't feel comfortable. But I feel like at this point we know how to operate in the COVID universe. And I think that this event will be totally fine.
100%.
Okay, do you
So,
need
one
anything
thing
from us,
though is
Jared? Or?
the dates. I just wanted to go over that. So Easter is the 17th. That's actually a very important holiday for my family. And so I'm not available that weekend at all. sorry, you guys know I made myself available on the weekends, Sundays, whatever, but that weekend just doesn't work for me. But I was thinking we schedule it for Saturday the 9th with a rain date of Sunday the 10th. That way, whoever is involved, we just have those 2 dates. Got to be, make yourself available. And I'd like to schedule it for like the early afternoon because I'm a big I love the appearance of an event is so important. Like I don't like things looking shoddy. So I'd rather have more time in the morning to decorate and to rig up some speakers and get the tents up and the tables up than to be rushed. And also if there is dew on the ground, it has a chance to dry up. It's unlikely that early in April, but nothing's worse than the ground being soaking wet and kids trampling through it, trying to pick up toys and whatever else. So you guys cool with those dates?
So
Yeah.
long as you feel like that gives you enough lead time.
Yeah, I mean, after that, it's Easter and then it's baseball season. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I honestly, it's a month and I feel totally comfortable with that.
Okay, great. Minor league baseball trip discussion.
I'll keep this one brief too, because we don't have to really discuss too much of it right now, but I thought it would be really cool because we're going to get a baseball program running one way or the other to do a trip to a minor league baseball game towards the end of the season, not only for people in the program, for whoever, but I think it would be a cool kind of culminating event. But then I realized that the closest teams are either the Hartford Yard Goats, and that's an hour and 15 minutes, or the Hudson Valley Renegades in Dutchess County, also an hour. And I really don't have a good grasp on whether or not people in the community are really interested in driving that far for something like this. And I think to Abigail's point before, maybe even including this in the baseball survey if we're doing it anyway, might as well include that in there and just say, hey, would this be something you're interested in doing? And I just wanted to kind of get your guys' feedback on it, if it's worth it. And then also if it would be a meetup, which means we sell the tickets and everybody meets there and we're sitting in the same section, or we did it as kind of like a bus trip. I'm not in love with the bus trip idea, at least right now, because one of the whole COVID thing and the tight space still, I'd rather kind of just avoid that until we're really in the clear. But then two, we don't have a ton of time to prepare for all this stuff, especially trying to get camp off the ground. So I think trying to network, getting a bus company, all that stuff is just going to be more work than it's really worth at this point. So those are my thoughts. Floor is open.
Jared, I sent you over a little sketch of the survey in the last questions, more an open thing where you could offer a lot of ideas that you're thinking about for spring baseball related.
Would you email it to me?
Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
look
think
at
you
that.
could definitely include that. It'd be great. And I think it's good to test see if people would be interested in driving their own cars. I know we used to do a lot of bus trip programs, and from what I recall, they're laborious to organize.
They are.
bus,
They're a
but,
lot to organize, and that's why, like I said, right now I'm trying to not bite off more than we can chew, because if we're trying to put this camp together and basically reinvent an entire summer camp, we don't want to. I'd rather offer less but have it be quality than offer more and have everything falling apart because we tried to balance too much. That's just my personal mindset. thought process.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
only thing I would add is if UConn, that's kind of a hike, but some sort of it wouldn't have to be minor league baseball. If it was some collegiate level of baseball would also be, I think, fun for kids to go to.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's even further, but
Yeah, I know that's pretty far, but I was hoping maybe they're playing like Quinnipiac or something, but I can't see anything.
But is there just like Abigail said, we'll add it to the survey. Excuse me, but I mean, definitely something you guys would support, provided we have interest.
Yes.
I would.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Awesome.
good idea. All right, so moving on to summer activities, the concert series.
I'm meeting with Don't tell me your name. I'll remember it. Nope, I won't. From the Land Trust, Connie from the Land Trust, and we're going to talk about that in more detail. Michael, I have to send you the invite to that. It's going to be an in-person meeting at the Land Trust offices, and so I have nothing to report except that it's on my radar.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Movie series.
We briefly spoke about this. Actually, we didn't speak about it. We spoke about it in simply saying that we'd talk about it. In my previous community, we did a summer movie series, and we had a screen, a projector, gave out popcorn, served concessions, and we showed a movie on the big screen. We did 4 of them throughout the summer. You do have to pay for the movie rights, which are not cheap. It's usually between $250 and $450 per movie, depending on what you're showing. A new release, a blockbuster, is going to be more than a movie from whatever the early 90s. Disney is going to be more than Fox, et cetera, et cetera. And you can't charge, because once you start charging, the fees are absorbent as to what you pay for the movie rights. So it's always a free thing. And your hope is that you'll make a little money back on concessions or whatever else. And ideally maybe get a sponsor. I just want to put this bug in here. Something I would like to do here. I think the concert series is awesome, but it's not for everybody. So to have an alternative summer activity, might appeal to a different demographic. Kids, you might not get little kids to come out to a concert series. I don't know what it's like here, but they might want to come out and watch The Little Mermaid on the big screen out on the lawn, So just something to think about and chew on. But I would certainly like to explore the options. I'd like to explore it for the summer.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. I think we could all start brainstorming locations.
Scary movie in the
Oh.
cemetery near.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a Boondocks Film Society that screens films around the area. They have pretty amazing curation, so they could be potentially a good partner. The Kent Memorial Library does movies. They did some over October, and I think they might be programming more, so it might also be beneficial to program with them. And back in the day when we thought it would be exciting to engage Rob Zombie with something, having him curate a film series was also a thought, since he's a filmmaker. So, yay.
Yeah, kind of. I didn't realize he lived in town, but I heard he's Rufus's neighbor.
Yep.
So, but it sounds like, once again, something you guys support.
Sounds fun.
Great.
All right. Now I need to ask, because I'm a little confused about this, but I think it's important and it's relevant here. So let's say I'm like, it would be really cool. We should do a movie night, right? What in my previous job, I had a much more, we'll say, free reign to do those things. Like I didn't have to go to my town board and say, I'd like to run a movie night. Can you guys approve me running that event? It was $300 for the movie, and we ran the program, and that was that. But where, once again, I guess thresholds is really the right word. Like, when do I come to you versus not come to you? And it doesn't really matter to me either way. I just want to make sure I'm following the right protocols, because Lynn and I spoke today, and apparently I had done a few things incorrectly with what I was, kind of how I advertised something. And I just want to make sure that I'm following the rules correctly, because in my previous gig, I had a lot more autonomy, if you will. So I just want to make sure I'm not stepping on your guys' toes, because I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't have a great answer for you,
I don't have
Jared.
a good answer.
But that's something that
Is
we're
this
trying
what you
to
want
simplify,
do?
I guess, was how I would put it.
Is this what you wanted to do to get into executive session?
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
okay.
That I honestly almost forgot about that, because we're pushing 9. I'm sorry, Abigail. I really tried so hard.
No, I think you're asking us a really important question. And I think
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons we put together the bylaws and constitution subcommittee. And I think that you know, the ideal state with having a professional running, a professional Parks and Rec director was to enable that person to run Parks and Rec and to seek our advice. I don't know what needs to be done to enable you to do that.
Well, yeah, and I don't feel like I'm not able at all. I'm a big, like, as I've said to Abigail, to you and everyone we spoke to, like, I really want to, kind of, be a uniting force and whatever else. And also, you guys are the community. At the end of the day, I'm still an outsider to an extent. So it's important that the lines of communication are open. I just want to make sure that I don't move forward with something incorrectly or, like I said, step on you guys' toes, because I'm not like that. I don't want you guys to get that impression or anything, that I'm trying to be a renegade, because I'm not.
Well, I think that like offering, soliciting our advice on programming, and as you're exploring ideas for programming, we may have some intel to offer you about the community, because we're supposed to represent the community. So it's always, I would think, helpful. But approving the wording on things is probably not the best use of the commission's time or knowledge. But, again, this is a group, and I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone, but that's just my impressions. And I thought that that's what the commission did.
I would tend to agree with Abigail that, if if the commission approves something, then they should let you use your professional expertise to pursue it how you think best. That would be streamline your time and, I don't think we should be micromanaging you to an extent. And if you had any questions, you'd probably come to us anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I email when I need to and all that, and I honestly don't feel micromanaged at all. I just want to, for example, Lynn and I are going to sit down, start talking camp. How much do I need to come back to you guys with regarding the camp? Or is that something where, hey, we're running a day camp and we know that we have the right people in place and that camp is going to run smoothly, and we've approved what we needed to approve, and the rest is up to the director and his staff.
Think along the same lines as Rufus just said, that we give you the green light to run a camp, and then we've hired you, vetted you, and we therefore trust you to do it as you see fit. I mean, I think if we decided that we should do a movie night this summer, and you opted to do 3 horror movies with Rob Zombie, I think after the fact, I might say, yo, maybe that wasn't maybe that wasn't representative of the entire community. You know what I mean? But I feel like the spirit, we can approve the spirit of it. I think you're the boots on the ground that make it happen.
So, and that's the thing, right? So let's say I'm like, you know what? It's Halloween time. I wanna throw together a Halloween movie night, Frankenweenie, at the community center, right? It's 200. I mean, a movie like that, $250 to get the rights, free to use the community center. We'll buy some popcorn. Do you need me, guys? Do you guys need me going to you to approve that event if it hadn't been previously approved, or is there just a certain amount of discretion that I have in terms of putting certain smaller level events together?
I think under the way it is now, you need our approval. You guys, you agree? You think?
Yeah, we had this discussion when we were looking for a director, I remember, and I remember Lynn saying it's always been done like this, everything gets approved. But there, some of the commission members were saying, why can't we, delegate some authority to the director to make these decisions? So you know, it gives them a little more free reign and it frees us up to just give advice on programming and whatnot instead of micromanaging. I think that was the word that was used. So
Yeah, and I just want to be clear.
I-
No, I mean, I know this was a hot button issue. No one has micromanaged me at all. It's been really, really good. So I like to be very clear on that. You know, I want you guys to know that. I'll be the first to say it if it were happening, but it's definitely not. So
I think it has in the past, it seems like, and I'm probably the newest member here. Lynn, I remember her saying, this is the way it's always been done. And I know isn't that one of the things the bylaws subcommittee was gonna kind of take a look at to see if I don't know if there's anything in the bylaws about that, or if we can change it if there is.
There's nothing explicitly in the bylaws.
So I don't see why.
There's a few changes we were trying to make to the language actually that we did propose in the meeting that I didn't attend. That was to address some of Jared's questions.
Yeah.
And I think what we asked at that was the spirit of what we're trying to do with the bylaws is to enable the director to direct.
Right.
And I think I listened to the recording, it sounded like the commission was okay, you know, felt comfortable with that. So we weren't going to go and make a lot of changes unless we knew the commission was okay with us trying to create a circumstance where the director could direct and not come to us with for approval for everything. And so I also think that Jared, you're asking us like, what's the decision-making criteria? How can you make decisions, and how can you know if you're making decisions appropriately and not have to come to us with every decision? Because that's just, it doesn't seem like that's going to enable you to do much. This is your job. You work 40 hours. We meet now twice a month, but we really shouldn't have to. We should be able to be efficient for you 2 hours a month. And then, perhaps we'll have some subgroups to work with you on, maintenance and programming. But, maybe if you had some guiding principles, like our guiding, equity, affordability, some things to help you make decisions. And then also like some values that we would apply to what we do, then you could feel more empowered to make decisions.
Yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, I respect your guys' authority as the commission. So I'm not trying to, I'm just kind of like today I made a post and it was regarding some spring programs, and Lynn was concerned because I had listed Ultimate Frisbee on there, which is something I've said several times that I'd like to start. And I honestly, like I said, I'm used to, in my community previously, it was just like, okay, that's a program that, we started just pick up games for people. And so without thinking about it, and I apologize, and I was embarrassed, I put that on there because I figured, okay, that's something we're gonna get up and running for sure. Now I know obviously I shouldn't have posted that before bringing it to the commission. And I think that's why, just like you said, Abigail, establishing some clear guidelines would be great. And I know I should have done it differently. And like I said, I'm embarrassed about that, but I think ultimately it's really a drop in the bucket. I don't think it's going to matter too much, but
with that example though, Jared, you're throwing out ideas, things you're going to try to get off the ground.
Yeah.
Ultimate Frisbee might be like hugely popular.
Let's hope so.
So if you didn't throw it out there, how would anybody know? And part of what the commission has to do is react to the reaction of the individual families that are going to respond to your suggestions of possible programs.
Yeah.
So one of us might be totally afraid of Ultimate Frisbee because we had a traumatic Frisbee experience in our youth.
Oh,
But,
Rufus, what are we going to learn about you here?
So, but I think I wouldn't have a problem with you throwing ideas out that maybe you hadn't brought to us. And then you come to us and say, hey, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I got a really positive response for
Got it. Yeah.
this. Same thing, if we agree to let you do, a film series. Okay, let us know what the films are as soon as you have it, but you don't necessarily have to, check every one.
I think most of us are probably in agreement about what you're saying, Rufus, but I don't know if Lynn would agree with us. So,
Yeah, and I don't think this is a end all be all conversation. I think this is
yeah,
gonna
I
be
mean,
very
maybe we
fluid.
should have a discussion when she's on, so everyone's in agreement, but I think that was, yeah, I think the idea was that we wanted to give the director more authority and, there was a little bit of an argument about the way things have always been done, so it's probably something that we have to, or the commission has to figure out and then,
Right.
give you, because you should know what your job is. It sounds like you don't know what you're allowed to do and what you.
Yeah,
know.
but
I
we
mean,
knew
and
this
it's-
going into this, we knew this. And I think we need to enable Jared to do his work.
Yeah,
And I don't know,
It's-
I don't know if, I don't know how, like, we're gonna move forward. I think we've been trying to.
I would
But
say,
just to
listen,
that point of throwing out an idea for a program,
I know. I
and
think I wouldn't have any.
that's like
objection
what,
to that at
that's
all.
what the
That was-
director, that's what we would hope. you
yeah,
will do,
I think though,
Jared.
with respect to Lynn, she was concerned that perhaps I presented it in a way that almost made it sound like it was going to happen without having the authority to actually say that. And that's what, like I said, I was embarrassed. I should have thought twice about that, but I was just like, let me get a post up and get people jazzed for the spring. So maybe it was perhaps the wording of it. And I certainly don't want to turn this into, a contentious issue. But for example, let me give you guys an example. Like COVID happened, right? And I was like, oh, what's some cool things we can do for rec? Because we had nothing going on. And so I started up a free hiking club, and I led hikes. I didn't need to go and get that approved. It was within my authority previously to just go and do that. And I don't know if that's okay here. Like if I said, hey, I want to say, hey, you know what? It's looking like a great day this Friday. Let's have everybody come out to the park for whatever. Do I need, oh, I can't do that because I didn't clear it with the commission. That's what I kind of need just some guidance on.
Hey, Jared, do you think we could, the bylaws committee could see the bylaws from your previous appointment?
Yeah,
good
I'm
idea.
sure. Absolutely. I don't really know. I mean, it would be more the town, because I reported directly to the town board. There was no commission. So it would certainly be different. And I don't know really if there's what really specific rec is in there, but I can certainly share it with you for sure.
I'd be curious to
Yeah,
see
'cause
the
I think-
wording of it.
I think what you're saying, Jared, is, that's, I would think in my vision of Parks and Rec, like, that sounds really exciting and awesome.
That's what we
And
want.
it's also amazing because you could be responsive to what's going on and meet people's needs in real time.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
if we can't operate that way, then I guess it's good that we have all these meetings. Because then you don't have to, you don't have to wait so long for us to
Yeah.
say, yes,
Yeah,
you
and
can do a movie night.
Yeah. And it may not be an issue. I don't want to overstep. And the last thing you guys say is, wow, Jared, why didn't you come to us with that? Like I'm a rule follower. I mean, I can be a renegade at times, but I respect your guys' positions, and I would never want it to seem like I'm just doing whatever I want,
Yeah, and I think that, like, we also can intervene when needed.
Yeah. Which hopefully is never.
And
I hope it
perhaps
never comes to that. Yeah.
it's more a, ooh, Jared has really been painting outside the box a lot. We need to rein him in, than limiting you from trying things.
Yeah.
I think that's the spirit we're going for.
Cool. Well, I think it sounds like we're all on the same page, which is great.
I think we're all on the same page for sure.
Yeah.
We want this to run better. It's been running great. We just want it to run better. That's
That there's always room for improvements, right, Kate?
exactly.
Michael, you still with us?
Yep, still here. All right, well, I know you had a executive session you wanted to go in. Is that something we can do next time, or is that something you wanna
Honestly,
do
it'll
tonight?
take about 3 minutes. It's very quick.
Okay,
It's probably important that we do it today.
got
Okay.
it. So I need a motion to go in executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Have a
Second.
second. All right, all those in
I need
favor?
to pause the,
I was just gonna note
No,
that the Article
wait
7.
a sec, you need to
Stop recording.
stop recording.
are we in executive
I was
session
just
yet?
noting
Not
per the
yet.
conversation that we just were having, in the update to the bylaws, we had made a recommendation to make it more of a collaboration with the commission rather than the commission setting forth what the director does. And that was intentional for the very reason why, what you're bringing up.
Okay.
So we want to not be setting forth what you do, but we'd like to be in collaboration with you.
Which I think
Not
so
approved
far
yet,
is what
but
we've
that's the idea.
got it. And I think so far that's really what we've been doing, right? Like I've been in touch with John about the parks, and we're working on the ARPA. I've been in touch with Michael. We just had a cleaning session down at and we made joint decisions on what was being kept and what was being thrown away. Abigail, you and I have been tag teaming on basketball. Me and Julia have been working on tennis. So I think we're definitely in that spirit for sure.
Okay, great. That's all. We can go into executive session now.
Did the motion go through and all that?
It did.
So when I hit pause on the recording, that will allow me to restart when we exit executive session, correct?
Makes sense.
All right, I'll do it.
Or-
Yep. done.
Okay, we've returned from executive session, 9:21. I believe we've covered the agenda for tonight's meeting. Next meeting is in 2 weeks on the 21st. We'll adjourn this meeting at 9:22.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Michael, for leading.
Thanks, Jared, for your
Michael,
work.
you are an
Michael,
awesome leader. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Abigail, can you call me real quick, just 2 minutes to go over the survey?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Good night, all. You're doing a
Good
great
night.
job.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jared.
You're welcome. Have a
Thanks,
great
Jared.
night.